Hi guys, my name is Theoffydora. I'm a Nigerian immigrant living in Alberta, Calgary. You're welcome on my channel. If this is your first time here, you are so welcome. Please don't leave this channel without subscribing, like this video. Welcome back to the channel. So like the topic says, we're going to be talking about everything related to childcare in Canada. Most of my experiences with childcare have been in the province that I landed with my family 6 months ago. Yes, it's been 6 months. Yeah, so most of my experiences are based off the province which I currently live with my family, and that is Calgary, Alberta. But I think that most of what you can get in Calgary is similar to what you can get from other provinces. If you're planning to migrate to Calgary, then you're very lucky. This will be very relevant for you. If you're planning on going to other provinces, maybe this will guide and help you as you make that decision towards childcare for your family. So you're a mom, you have toddlers, you have young kids, you're relocating to Canada, you're worried about childcare, you're worried about what is obtainable, you're worried about what you can find in Calgary, you're worried about where you will place your kids while you embark on your career, or you just want them to start off, they've been going to school before in Nigeria or whichever country you were living in before you decide to migrate to Canada, and you just want to know what is obtainable. Sit back and continue watching. Welcome back. So when we newly migrated to Calgary as immigrants back in May 2022, there were some mistakes that I made. And it's not like I didn't know. I knew, but I didn't remember. One of them was that I forgot that child care centers in Canada have a very long waiting list. Yes, a very long waiting list. What I should have done before I came here was to find a way to either start preparing myself mentally to look into different daycare centers. I should have immediately started looking around for childcare centers. I didn't. I was going to work, pursuing the older ones' admission, which wasn't even really a problem because the province had already sorted out their schooling. The province will not sort out daycare for you. You have to take the stance to sort that out for yourself and your child. So what I should have started doing immediately I got my house was to look around my neighborhood for a daycare center. And I didn't do that. We're just going to work. Well, I don't know. I know that there is a waiting list, but I think I kind of forgot. What I should have done was to immediately get somewhere close by and either put her down on a wait list or check for anywhere around that I could have, enrolled her. I didn't do that. I only started looking at daycare when I had put my other two in school and they had settled down. Can you imagine? By that time, my options were really limited. All the daycare places around me, and there are quite a number of really good daycare centers around me, they were all occupied. I couldn't find a space. They all had wait lists. Most of their wait lists extend as far as February. Yes, some of them extend as far as next year, April. It was that bad. Luckily for us, we were able to find a daycare center maybe like 5 blocks away from us that had 2 free slots. And we were able to, enroll Eliana in that daycare. Did I like the daycare? I didn't. Was it sufficient? It was. But it wasn't my choice, my first choice. If you want to have some kind of choice, you have to be very proactive with daycare choices. Now, the government of Alberta has, done a lot of things to make childcare affordable for families, especially immigrants in Calgary. All right? And I'm going to be reviewing subsidy and grants. Now, I get a lot of DMs sometimes asking me if daycare centers, preschool are free, aftercare are free in Canada. No, they are not. When I was looking for daycare for Eliana, in the complex building where I work, there was a daycare right above me. And that was my first choice for daycare for Eliana. When I went there, they had free slots, yes. They had subsidy and they had grants. But the full tuition monthly per child was 2,000 Canadian dollars. Yes, they had subsidy and yes, they had grants. But by the time this was implemented in the full fees of 2,000 Canadian dollars, I think we had to still pay about 1,200 Canadian dollars. And we couldn't afford that. So that scratched that daycare totally out of my plans. Went to the next daycare. They had a long wait list that was not going to be available until next year, April. So yes, a lot of daycares in Canada have subsidy and grants. A lot of other daycares and day homes do not have subsidy and grants. And let me not get you confused. Let's just take it one step at a time. So let's talk about subsidy and let's talk about grants. All right. So in January of 2022, the government of Alberta decided that they were going to implement a subsidy and grants to daycare to afford most families living in Alberta the opportunity to be able to send their kids to daycare centers while paying as low as almost $10 per day. Yes. And this is being effected through the provinces of Alberta. Who is entitled to apply for daycare subsidy? Canadian citizens, permanent residents, temporary residents with work permit, and also international students. So yes, if you're an international student, you are eligible to apply for daycare subsidy. In January 2022, the federal government of Alberta negotiated an agreement. I'm just going to be reading from what I have written down. Negotiated an agreement to increase accessible and affordable high-quality childcare to give families the choice they need, to reduce fees for parents of children of 0 age to kindergarten by an average of half. So by 2026, the plan is that parents will pay an average of $10 per day. They plan to do this in two ways. One, by providing grants for childcare operators. Now, in Calgary, when you're applying for a grant, the school applies for you. So you don't get that money sent to you. The money is sent to the daycare center that you have chosen for your child. You are the one who will apply for subsidy, but for the grant, the school will apply on your behalf. The money will be sent to the school. You will apply for the subsidy. The subsidy amount will be sent to the school that you have chosen. I don't know if you understand. So in all of this, you're not going to get any of that money into your account. All of this money is going to be sent to the school and applied on your child's tuition. But you will be the one to apply for subsidy yourself, and the school will apply for the grant for you, right? Now, expanding childcare subsidy eligibility to save parents earning up to $180,000 or even more. This project is being funded in part by the Government of Canada through the Canada-Alberta government-wide early learning and childcare agreement. So this subsidy and grant was funded by the Government of Alberta through the Alberta Canada government, through the wide early learning and childcare agreement, okay? Now, what is the plan? What is the plan with this whole subsidy and grant? The plan is to reduce licensed childcare fees by an average of 50% for families with children of 0 to kindergarten age, also attending childcare during regular school hours. So what this means is that here in Alberta, I don't know if they have this in other provinces, kindergarten is just for 3 hours a day, guys. You can either go from 9 o'clock and your child leaves at 11, or you can go from, I think about that, you can go from about 11 o'clock and your child leaves at about 2 o'clock or so. Now, if you're full-time working parent, that is definitely not going to work for you. So what some families do is that they still enroll their child in a daycare center, okay? And your child gets to go to kindergarten in the morning, or your child gets to go to daycare in the morning. It's your choice. You can drop your child at the daycare center at 9 o'clock, and the daycare center will take your child to the kindergarten school of your choice, the school that you have enrolled your child in for kindergarten. The daycare center will take your child to that school, drop your child there. Your child will participate in the 3 hours learning for kindergarten, and the daycare will come pick up your child after your child's 3 hours are done and take your child back to daycare. And then you can come and pick up your child from daycare at the end of your working day. I don't know if you understand. So that is what some parents do, just so that your child doesn't miss out on the early learning stages of daycare. So if your child gets to like the age of 4 years, 4 plus or 5 years, that is the age for kindergarten. But kindergarten services are 3 hours a day. So some parents still engage in a daycare center to be able to allow their child, you know, be placed in a proper atmosphere while you are still working your regular 8 hours or 10 hours, whichever one you're working. And the daycare will help you take your child to kindergarten and bring your child back to daycare. That means that in total, your child would have still, you know, been in kindergarten and in daycare, and you will still apply for your subsidy because kindergarten is free. If your child is going to a public kindergarten, it is free, but you're still going to be paying for daycare while still applying the grant and the subsidy. I don't know if this makes sense, all right? But if your child is still at a lower age than 4 years old and doesn't need to go to kindergarten, your child can be enrolled at daycare for the, you know, 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whenever time you want to drop your child, till you're ready to pick up your child at 6 p.m., which is what I think most daycare centers run to, all right? That is what they mean while attending child care during regular school hours. Now, the plan is also to lower average licensed child care fees to $10 per day for families. We pay a minimum of $220 every month for Eliana's daycare. Her full tuition for daycare is about $1,200 every month. Now, the daycare implements the grant for Eliana, which is about $500 and something. I'm not very sure of the amount. I think it's about $550 or $560. We also apply for subsidy for Eliana, which is still about $540 something. That takes care of about $1,000 of Eliana's full tuition for her daycare, while we pay the minimum, the balance of her daycare, which is $220. So daycare and subsidy have conveniently taken off $1,000 off Eliana's full tuition, while we just pay that minimum of $220. Imagine if we had to pay the full tuition of $1,200. All right, so that is how the subsidy and the grants work. Now, there are two types of childcare services in Alberta. There is the regulated and the unregulated. The unregulated, talking about nannies or porters or family members or whoever you want to help you watch your child. Maybe you have a family member around, maybe you have to pay a family member, maybe you have someone who does that for a fee, helps you take care of your child. Those are unregulated. The government has no idea about that plan, okay? That is just totally your business. There are also some places that are called day homes that are unregulated. These are families who take care of children. They keep children in their homes while the parents go to work and all of that, but they are not registered, all right? They are not regulated by the government, and leaving your child there is at your own risk, so to speak. And then you have the regulated child care centers. These are the daycare centers, these are daycare home, these are the child care centers, whichever one you want to call them, kindergarten, preschool, aftercare. They are regulated. Regulated in the sense that the government of Alberta knows that this particular child care center has been vetted, okay? Their standards are well placed for childcare services. They have the minimum amount of teachers that are necessary or attendants that are necessary. They have all the safety guidelines in place, all the safety features from fire, staircases, water, food and all of that, all right? So all these things have been checked, and they have a license to actually run that day center in that particular part of town, okay? Now, these ones are regulated and licensed by the province, and they are evaluated by the government to ensure that their standards are pretty okay for your child. And childcare rates differ from province to province. Some provinces have really high childcare rates. I think the highest childcare rate for province is Toronto, and this can be as high as $1,850 to $3,000 a month for childcare centers, all right? And I think the lowest is Manitoba, Winnipeg precisely, where you can get childcare center tuition as low as $650 per month to $800 per month. In Alberta, I have seen $2,000 to $2,500. I have seen as low as $1,000. It just depends on what you want in a daycare. So when you are making a choice to migrate to a particular province in Canada and you have children under the age of 4, these are some of the things that you have to put into perspective, all right? Childcare tuition differs from age of child to age of child and how long you want the child to be in school. Most of the prices that I'm giving you is based on full-time rates, okay? Like if you want your child to be in daycare for longer, you have part-time, you have full-time, you have overnight to daytime. Overnight is you're dropping the child overnight and you're coming to pick the child the next day at the time the daycare closes. So what I mean is, say you are a night worker, you're dropping your child at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whatever time it is that you're going to work, and you're coming back to pick your child maybe at 6 o'clock the next day. They have services like that. Some daycares have services like that, all right? But the ones that are common are full-time, which is between 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock to 6 p.m. So 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. per day, or part-time, which is 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. All right. A factor to consider when you're looking at daycare centers is wait list. I would advise that if you're pregnant or expecting a child or any of that, maybe you're pregnant and you are a working mom, you know that after you're done with your maternity, you want to take your child to a daycare, I would advise that you start to look around your neighborhood for the daycare center that you want to put your child in, and probably register your child in a daycare center that is suitable for you, so that by the time you're done with your maternity, you would have had a spot at that school to place your child. The reason I'm saying this is because a lot of daycare centers, a lot of child centers have a very long wait list. The longest I have seen is from May 2022, is not open till about 2023 June. Okay, that's almost 1 year. That's almost a year of a wait list. So some other daycare centers can have wait lists for as long as 2 years, 3 years. You don't want that. So if you know that you're pregnant and you're about to have a baby, look around your neighborhood for a good daycare home and register. I hear that some daycare centers pay for wait lists. I've not seen any of that. I've not had to pay for wait lists. I've enrolled Eliana in two daycare centers, and I didn't have to pay for wait lists. I just had to register, and they will let me know when there's an availability, but I never had to pay for wait lists. I don't know if this is applicable in other provinces. Now, if you're coming into Canada as an immigrant and you have toddlers, do not just expect or assume that there will be an availability in a daycare center. You know, be prepared to have to look around several centers around your neighborhood to be able to get one that is open. But if your heart is particularly set upon a particular daycare, then you might have to just apply for the wait lists. But in that time, you can, enroll your child somewhere else while you're waiting for that particular center to be open, and then you can switch the child to that daycare center. But if you know that you're a working mom and you need to get your child enrolled as soon as possible, once you get an apartment, please start looking at the neighborhood. It doesn't matter if it's school season or it's not school season. Daycare centers, I don't think they have a break, whether it's a term or not a term. I think they just have short periods that they go on holidays, maybe like Christmas, Easter, and all of that. And then they're back again, on service. So you just have to look around to, be sure that you can find a place that you can place your child, while also enrolling your child on a wait list on a daycare that is more to your liking. That is what I had to do for Eliana. Her current daycare, I don't particularly like the place, but they had 2 available slots. I just had to put her there, and then that's it. Yes, so most daycare centers provide meals for children. Like the daycare that I put Eliana in, they provide meals for the children, and they have menus. They have weekly menus. You can ask to see the menu for the week. You can ask to see the menu for the month. We'll email it to you, or when you go into school to pick up your child, you can always ask for a copy of the menu. Go through it. If you're not comfortable with any of the meals that are being served, or your child has any allergies, like in my case, Eliana doesn't have any allergies, but most of the stuff that was on the menu, I knew she wouldn't eat it because she's not used to that kind of food. She's not used to, just having soup and bread or things like guacamole or tacos. Now, I want her to be as exposed to as many meals as possible, but I don't want her to starve. So I was able to, discuss with the daycare about also sending a lunch every day for Eliana. Now, she still sits down with her classmates to have lunch. She typically just picks at most of the meals. Over a month or 2, she started getting used to some meals and preferred them over others. The teachers were able to observe her, and they know the kind of meals that she likes. They know that Eliana likes fruits and she doesn't really like vegetables. She won't particularly eat some foods. So the foods that they know that she likes, they will serve her those foods in a larger quantity that they will probably give the other kids. And on the days that they don't serve what she likes, then she will eat her food from daycare, from home I mean. But don't forget that they are in school for a very long time. Eliana is in school from like 8 a.m. till about 6 p.m. you know, most times. When I pick her up early, sometimes I pick her up as early as 4:30. Now, within that time, Eliana would have had her breakfast from home. She always has breakfast from home, and she would have also had lunch in school. And in between, there's always snack period and all of that. So there is always time for her to eat that food, that meal, that lunch from home, you know. But these are things that you can negotiate with the school. And another thing is, don't be afraid to speak up. You always have to speak up, okay? They don't know you. They don't know your history. They have a routine laid down for the kids. But like I did with Eliana, I had to let them know that we are new immigrants. We have not lived in this particular part of the country, of the continent before, and we are not used to their temperatures. So when I put on a sweater, I expect that Eliana's sweater has to be kept on. I expect that when she's going out for playtime, even when it's snowing or when it has snowed, that she has to be fully dressed. Fully dressed, her thermal wear, her sweaters, her gloves, her hat, like fully kitted, everything with snow pants and all of that. And this was after several incidents that occurred in school, because typically they will want to treat all the kids the same, and most of the kids in the daycare here have been raised in Canada. So the kind of temperature that they would endure will not be the same kind of temperature that your own child coming from Nigeria will endure. And by the time you're able to, you know, discuss this with them and come to an agreement, it can actually help save you from a lot of illnesses and all of that. Because what I typically observed when Eliana started daycare was that she was always having a runny nose and all of that. She was falling ill quite a bit, and I didn't understand until I started speaking with Eliana, and I discovered that most times they will send her out without some particular gear. They will send her out maybe without a jacket sometimes, even when it wasn't snowing. This was in summer, okay? So because it was summer, they assumed that she wouldn't need a jacket, she wouldn't need... Now, if you have lived here, you know that even when it was fall, it was still pretty cold. Now, if you do not communicate this to the attendants who care for your child, they will not know. So I had to write a mail to the school and let them understand that even during summer, even during fall, I expect that Eliana should be dressed properly. She had to wear her sweater, she has to wear her coat outdoors. She's not to be sent outside without her socks or her coat. And ever since I was able to communicate this to her, I think we've been doing pretty well. So you have to discuss with them. Don't just assume that they will know. You're a new immigrant, you know your child, you know better. Let them know, okay? And if they're not really understanding, maybe you can just, you know, put it in an email or something to the proper authorities of the school, and this will be implemented for your child. Now, I'm going to leave some links in the description that pertain to childcare grants, childcare subsidy, and all of that. You can go and look up and read up, do your own research, so that when you're coming in, you will have an idea of how much subsidy you can have for a particular province or a particular child and all of that. I'm just going to leave it in the description box for you. But I have some figures here. I wrote it down. I have some figures here that I was able to get off the internet that I think would help you. Now, how are daycare fees reduced when you're talking about subsidy? How are the fees reduced? Not everybody will have the same amount of subsidy. Subsidy is calculated with the age of the child and your income. Okay, your income for both spouses, whoever is working. If it's a 2-income family, the cumulative of those incomes and the age of your child and how long your child is going to be in daycare is what will be used to calculate the amount of subsidy that will be applied for you. I don't know if grant is fixed. I think grant is not fixed. I think grant is fixed. I think for grant, everybody gets the same amount for grant. But for childcare subsidy, it is dependent on these factors that I have listed out. 1, your income. 2, the age of the child. 3, how long the child is expected to stay in school. All right. So if your child is going to be in daycare full-time and your child is under 19 months, so that's from 0 to 19 months, you are going to pay you're going to have subsidy of 637 Canadian dollars. If this child is a toddler of 19 months to under 3 years, you're going to have subsidy of about 510 Canadian dollars. And if this child is of preschool age, 3 years to kindergarten, which should be about 5-6 years, you're going to have subsidy of about $450. Now, this is for daycare full-time daycare. Now, if this is part-time daycare, you're going to have, for an infant under 19 months, that's 0 to 19 months, $317. Okay, and if it's a toddler 19 months to under 3 years old, you're going to have 255 Canadian dollars as subsidy. If this child is of preschool age, which is 3 years to kindergarten, which is about 5 to 6 years, so 3 to 5-6 years old child, for daycare part-time, the subsidy that you will get applied to your child's tuition for daycare will be about $255. Now, family day homes are different. I don't know why though. If it's a family day home and it's for full time and your infant is between 0 to 19 months, you're going to get about 350 Canadian dollars applied to your child's tuition. If that child is 19 months to under 3 years, for full time, you're going to have $325 Canadian dollars applied to your child's tuition. If your child is of a preschool age, which is 3 years to kindergarten, you're going to have applied to your daycare about 300 Canadian dollars. So this is what I was able to find on the internet. I'm very sure that this is not the norm. It will probably fluctuate with other things like the child's age. So you can see there are different ages here. From 0 to 19 months for daycare is like 635. And for preschool age of 3 years to 5-6 years is about $450. So it's not the same amount per child. It depends on the age of your child, and it also depends on how long you want to keep your child in school. Are you doing full time? Are you doing part time? Do you understand? And also your family's income. That also influences the amount of subsidy you get. I think that's how this subsidy is calculated from family to family. This has been from what I've been able to get from the internet, doing my research, and also my personal experience. So if you're coming here from Nigeria with your toddler as a young mom or working mom, don't be worried. There's childcare here for you. It's not free, but you have subsidy and you have grants. And with this subsidy and grants, you can't send your child to daycare and pay a minimum amount. So I hope I've been able to do justice to this topic. If there's anything that you don't understand, or if there's anything that you think that I should shed more light on, you can comment in the comment section. I always answer comments. If you're here and you're watching my video and you've not subscribed, go ahead and click the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, so whenever I post a new video, YouTube will alert you to know that I have posted new content and you can go and check it out. Don't forget to like my video. It helps my algorithm. It helps this channel grow. It helps this channel reach a lot of other viewers. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time when I upload a new content, take care, and we'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye guys.